Greetings to everyone on my channel. Sit back. Now you will listen to another incredible story about the relationship of a married couple and the incredible exposure of his wife. I will ask you to subscribe to my channel and like it. It's not difficult for you, but it's nice for me. Life went on as usual. The first couple of weeks after the events at work with Alia, it was hard for me. The next week after that, she immediately quit, although she had to work a little. I was very happy with her decision. Alia spent a couple of months at home and then got another job. She became an even more caring and attentive wife. The house shone, and her culinary skills improved. It seemed like life itself was thanking me for forgiveness. Of course, it was difficult to forget, especially in the close moments when the memories of that night returned. We started spending more time together. Alia became more open, and the initiator of spending time together was not only me, but also her. We began to live a new life, enjoying every minute. A year after those events, Alia became pregnant, and I was very glad. I asked her to leave her job so she could take care of herself, and she agreed. I started working harder to bring home more money. Over time, she got bored, but I remained adamant and asked her to take care of herself. For the first 3 months of pregnancy, she did not show much desire for intimacy, but later said she was ready. We tried to be careful and gentle. However, one day it seemed to me that I could do harm, and I offered to stop. We went to the doctor, who calmed us down, but I still felt scared. In the end, we limited ourselves to simple displays of intimacy, and it seemed like a good alternative. We were excited about the upcoming addition to the family. But in life, white and black stripes often alternate. Our friend, Anna, suffered a misfortune. She died in an accident. This was a serious blow to her husband, our friend Alexei, who was grieving the loss. I often called and texted him to make sure he was okay. Sometimes we met just to talk. One day he didn't get in touch for several days, and I went to his house. Alexei was seriously addicted to alcohol, and I decided to help him by taking him to the hospital. A little later, I invited him to dinner with us so that he could distract himself and feel the support of friends. We were expecting him to visit on Friday evening. I picked him up after work, and we drove to my house together. Alia met us and seemed glad to see a friend. The evening was held in a cozy atmosphere. We remembered old times and enjoyed each other's company. At some point, we both went out for a smoke, and Alexei shared his thoughts about the future. He planned to change his life and open his own business related to his passion for motorcycles. I supported him in this endeavor and advised a person who could help. However, in the evening, a colleague called me and informed me about an urgent problem at work that required my presence. I had to leave, leaving Alia and Alexei. I promised to come back as soon as possible. Upon arriving at work, I quickly sorted out the problem and was able to return home earlier than expected. On the way to the house, I hesitated. I didn't want to wake anyone up with a late visit, but in the end, I quietly entered. When I heard the voices, I stopped at the door and realized that they were having a heart-to-heart conversation. "How is your personal life?" Considering your position, Alexei asked, a little embarrassed and under the influence of alcohol. "You've been through this too, right?" His wife chuckled. "Actually, it's not easy. He wants to, it's obvious, but he's afraid that he'll hurt the baby, even though we went to the doctor. After that, there were attempts, but he had a strange dream. So it's been over a month now. Have you ever thought about it?" Alexei's voice sounded more confident now. Alia hesitated for a moment whether to tell her. "Promise not to tell anyone?" "No one knows about it," Alia pleaded more plaintively than she asked a question, while sitting down more comfortably. "Of course, no one will know," Alexei replied, also sitting comfortably. It was at a corporate party, after the completion of a large project. We were sitting, celebrating. I asked him, my husband, to pick me up around 11 in the evening. By 10 I was fine, even though I was drinking slowly. I texted him to pick me up, but there was no response. I started calling, but he didn't answer. I didn't want to ask a colleague to take me. I was a little afraid, although my colleagues were paying attention. I was the center of attention all evening, as I was the youngest in the company. The boss wanted to dance the most. He started inviting me, and I agreed. But he was too intrusive at the dance, and I had to stop him. It's a little unpleasant to remember, but a strange series of events began from that day. Alexei and I sat in silence, occasionally glancing at each other. It was hard to believe that something like this had happened to a childhood friend. Did you ever think that your wife could do that? His wife asked. I don't think so, although once there was a feeling that something had changed. After visiting her relatives in the village, her attitude changed, but maybe I was just overly suspicious, Alexei replied quietly. Lek, listen, I've never told this story to anyone, said Alya. I won't tell anyone, don't worry, he replied. The wife continued the story, describing how she had been going through the last week at work after the incident at the corporate party. Others began to treat her warily, and some colleagues showed special attention, knowing that she would soon leave. The atmosphere was tense, and in the end, she was relieved to finish all her business and left work, hoping never to think about those days again. If you thought that was all, then no, Alya laughed. It turned out that I forgot important documents and had to return to the office on the weekend. And there was a guard there? Lex smiled. Yes, he was there, but everything went smoothly. Since then, I just finished my business and left, she said, sipping tea. Lehigh's face expressed surprise. Clearly, he did not expect such revelations from a childhood friend. Well, yes, you can still believe the corporate party, but the rest is rather fiction. Lek finished his whiskey and poured himself another one. I forgot to tell you that I returned to the office several times after that evening to complete everything. Serioza was busy with his own business, and I was putting my work documents in order, Alya grinned. Is the child still yours and Sergei's? Lek was somewhat stunned by her story. Of course, Seriozan, without a doubt, Alya replied calmly. After this, I need to get some fresh air. Lek got up to go out on the balcony, and I managed to hide in the closet. Lek closed the balcony door, and I opened the closet door a crack to listen. It seemed that someone was crying quietly, and after a while I saw Lek standing on the balcony and Olechka sitting quietly wiping away tears. I wanted to go to her, but I knew it was better to hear everything to the end. I pretended that I had just entered the house, slamming the door, and went to the kitchen, where Olechka was still sitting. Why are you crying, Olechka? I asked. Yes, I remembered my friend Anna, she replied. I hugged her. Alya, does Serega have any cigarettes at home? Lex said, coming into the kitchen. Oh, you're back. There was a certain resentment in his gaze. Yes, just now. There are no cigarettes. I forgot to buy them on the way. It's a pity. I would like to smoke. I'll go grab a couple more things. I'm with you. It's not worth it, Rest. I'll be quick. Having said that, I headed for the exit again, and he and Alya stayed in the kitchen. I pretended to leave, but stayed nearby, listening. When I was in a position, one day, after a sleepless night with Serioza, I wanted to rest, but he was busy with his own affairs. Back then, I would sometimes retire to relax and think about life. You may think that I'm doing the wrong thing, but I love Sergei and I'm grateful to him for everything he does, Alya continued. But sometimes it is difficult for me to cope with emotions. I know he's trying, and I appreciate it. Well, this is your life, and I won't judge. But I hope you will find the strength to be sincere with him and with your feelings. I've already decided to focus more on my family, she replied. That's good. Why were you crying? I remembered Anna. She would have supported me and given me advice if she had been here, Alya said sadly, and Lex sat down next to her, hugging her. They sat in silence, remembering their friend. I left the house, got in the car, and went to get cigarettes to distract myself and think a little. After all, talking to Alya about her past has awakened questions in me that have yet to be answered.